Hello, everyone. We are back. My name is Nikisha Bond. If you're new here, welcome. Glad that you're here. We are continuing with the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. We're going to learn something new today, people. So let's get into law number 8. Make others come to you. Use bait if necessary. Let's get into it. When you force the other person to act, you are the one in control. It's always better to make your opponent come to you, abandoning his own plans in the process. Lure him in with fabulous gains, then attack. You hold all the cards. Ooh-wee. We're going to get into a little bit of a dark psychology here today, so I don't know. Trigger warning for those of you who've been manipulated. Trigger warning. You guys are not going to like some of this stuff, but we're going to get into it. Let's talk about the keys to power. Okay, so, in the realm of power, you might be asking, why are you always reacting to events instead of directing it? And the simple answer is, your idea of power is wrong. You have mistaken aggressive action for effective action. And most often, the most effective action is to stay back, keep calm, let others be frustrated by the traps you lay for them, playing for the long-term power rather than a quick victory. And so really, it's like the essence of power is the ability to keep the initiative, to get others to react to your moves, and to keep your opponent and those around you on the defensive. So the best way to do that is to have a plan. I can't tell you how many times people go into a situation and they don't have a plan. It's like, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to tell this person how I feel, or I'm going to go in here and I'm going to ask for this, but you don't have okay, if they do this, then I'm going to do that. If they do this, then I'm going to do this. And if they do this, then I will be willing to walk away. That is the most powerful thing you can do, is have a plan of how you're going to react regardless of what, because you can't control what that person does. They're going to do whatever they're going to do, right? That's what people do. But what you can control is how you're going to react to that. And if you have a plan, now you know how you're going to react to it, because you're going to say, okay, if then. So that's what you really want to think about when you go into a situation. You yourself must learn to master your emotions and never be influenced by anger. Meanwhile, however, you must play on other people's natural tendency to react angrily when pushed and baited. Have you guys ever been gaslit? Has anybody ever told you that what you were feeling is not what you were feeling? And so you're getting really, really upset because you're trying to prove that what you're feeling is valid. And then they're like, oh my gosh, calm down. You're overreacting. Why are you doing this? And they make you feel like you're absolutely foolish. And you're like, you started this whole conversation. Where did this even come from? I didn't start this. You started this. Why are you doing this to me? Yeah, that's where this comes from, because they're having to do that transfer of emotion, right? If I'm feeling a certain way, if I'm guilty of something, then I'm going to put that onto you, get you all confused so that the guilt can be off of me, right? That's how they would do that. So listen, I didn't make this up. I'm just telling you how it works. This is what we can do. It's going back to having your plan, right? Because what happens is when you get into an emotional situation, you're responding on the emotions. You're responding on what they said, how that made you feel. At least a lot of times women are. And so a lot of times you have to just say, okay, what did I come here for? What are we talking about? And what am I ultimately trying to accomplish? Is this person really just trying to take me off into left field? How do I reel them back? How do I get control of this conversation? So, and the best way you can do that is to not respond in anger, to not respond because you feel that emotion, to let that emotion come and kind of wash over you so that you can say, how do I want to react? I don't want to just respond to this. I want to react. What do I want to do intentionally or purposely? And I don't know if it should be respond or react or respond. You guys can look it up. Listen, I am not one of those people who goes to the dictionary and looks at every single word. Although I need to get better at that, guys. I really do. But anyways, let's continue on. So, manipulation is a dangerous game. Once someone suspects he or she is being manipulated, it becomes harder and harder to control them. Listen, you don't know who you're playing with. I'm not a big believer in manipulation because people do suspect it. People do wise up. People are not as dumb as we think. And a lot of people play dumb. I play dumb a lot of times. I'll be like, what? Oh my gosh. What? So, you got to really be careful who you play with, because you don't know if they have a plan. Because if you're playing with someone who doesn't have a plan, it's easy to move them around. But if you're dealing with someone who's I know exactly what I came here for, and I know exactly when it's time for me to throw my chips in and leave the table. So you got to be careful who you play with. And then some people are just not to be played with. Some people, they going to give you that work. They going to give you that work. Okay, here's another one. When you are making people come to you, it's sometimes better to let them know that you are forcing their hand. Give up your deception and overt manipulation. The psychological ramifications are profound. The person who often makes others come to them appears powerful and demands respect. And I think the way that you can make people come to you is be willing to walk away. I think because people are so unwilling to walk away from the situation, that's how they end up getting manipulated, because you didn't have a boundary that said, whoa, once you cross this, I'm done. There's nothing else to be said. I'm walking away. I don't even have to have a conversation with you because you've already crossed it and it's over. I've already had conversations with you. So by the time you got here, it was already done. And so I think that's what makes it powerful, because now people have to decide, like, if you're walking away, it's like, did that salesperson really want that? If that person's walking away, the salesperson's like, oh, wait, let me try and change your mind, because they really want that sale. And if the person's like, I can go somewhere else, I know I can get a better deal somewhere else, that's the person who's having the power. So the person who's willing to walk away is really the person who has the power in that situation. So, when you're making someone come to you, you can let them know, like, hey, I'm doing this because I have the upper hand. I don't know if I got off on a tangent on that one, but hopefully you found some value. So, guys, sometimes I'll be talking, and because there's nobody here, I'm just talking to myself, and there's like nobody who's like reaction I can read off of. And sometimes I'll just go off onto whatever the spirit is telling me. So it is what it is. Sorry. If it's not confusing, I try to put words up here to give you some value. But if there are no words there and you find no value, I appreciate you being here anyway. And the last one, let's talk about the reversal. So instead of making others come to you, maybe it's better to go to them, force the issue, take the lead. Fast attacks can be awesome weapon because it forces the other person to react without time to plan or think, right? And you make the enemy respond on your terms. It makes me think of that movie, The Woman King. I don't know if you guys saw that movie, but like there's this time where they knew that this army was coming after them, and they were camped out somewhere, and they knew where they were camped out. So they just took them right there at camp. And they're sitting there, trying to have a bonfire, relax with the guys, waiting for battle tomorrow. And here they are coming here. No, we're doing it tonight. So that's really powerful, because now you're coming and saying you're going to do it when I want to do it. We're having this conversation when I want to have this conversation, because whoever's directing, whoever's asking the questions, if you have the plan, if you know where you're going, you really are in control, because most people don't have a plan. Most people don't know where they're going, and they're hoping that the person on the other end is going to be graceful, or, is going to treat them kindly or treat them fairly. And I think that you should treat people kindly. I think you should treat people fairly. I don't think you should use this to manipulate others, because you'll get your karma. You'll get your karma. That's why I'm saying we're just going through this to try and figure out how we can make others come to us, use bait if necessary. And, that's all I have today. Listen, guys, I'll be honest with you. I actually recorded this video before, and the audio was sucky, just like it was in the last video. And so I'm having to record it again. So I don't know what I said in the last one, but I thought it was really, really good. So I hope I gave you guys the same value this time. Either way, just go ahead and drop a like or a dislike, because I think it hits the algorithm either way. Just kind of hurts my feelings. What did my mom say? She said, make a like, a comment, subscribe, tell a friend, share. Have a great evening.